So, my favourite Irish song is actually a song I don't like to listen to because it's Danny Boy, and Danny Boy's been overdone a billion times. And everybody, every American in a pub who claims to be Irish sings "Oh Danny Boy." But it is still my favourite Irish song for this reason, and I'm going to tell you that reason. I'm going to tell you a story which explains why this is my favourite Irish song. So I was born in London. My dad's from Belfast, and I was over here when I was 6 months old, and then my grandfather passed away when I was 7, and my dad got some time off, and we went up to Belfast for about 4 days to see my granny, and for my dad to see the rest of his family. And in those 4 days I had never met my granny, and my parents weren't very sociable. We lived in London, and I'm an only child, so I really saw nobody apart from people at school. So when I came to Belfast, I met my really big family. My dad had lots of brothers and sisters, and they were all married, and they had kids because my dad was the youngest. So I just couldn't believe the size of my family, and it was great. And I had never met my granny before, but she was exactly how I thought a granny should be. She wasn't too big. She was maybe a little over 5 foot. She was quite busty and a little heavy through the hips, which was exactly how I imagined your granny should look like. And she gave the best hugs. She just enveloped you in love, and you just felt so safe and warm. And I loved it. And then we were there for 4 days, and we left back for London. And we heard that December, so it had been about 6 months. I had just turned 8, and then my granny passed away. And we wouldn't be back in Belfast until I was 10. And then after that, we went every single year. My dad never missed a year until we moved up here to live. So when I was 10, we had another gathering of the family. Everybody would gather, and they would do just a little entertaining thing that they were good at. They loved to sing. Not really any of them could sing. My dad apparently was the singer in the family, but they let him sing 1 or 2, but they weren't keen because they said Bing Crosby had ruined his voice because he started crooning like Bing Crosby, and they said that was a terrible way to sing, and they much preferred how he used to sing before Bing Crosby ruined him. And then my Auntie Tilly would do as many numbers as she could of Irish songs, the Lots of More and When Irish Eyes and all this, and Auntie Jessie would say she sings exactly as a banshee would sing. So you can imagine what she sounded like. But Tilly gave it, she sang with her heart and gave it her all, which you have to give credit to. She sang with a joyful heart. And people told jokes and told stories. Uncle Willie was brilliant for telling stories about the shipyard. And Uncle David was great at telling jokes. And we had a great evening. But they loved singers, anyone they could get to sing. And I could sing. So they wanted me to sing an Irish song, and the only one I knew off by heart was Danny Boy, of course. So I sang Danny Boy. Nervous, I'd sung in a school choir, but this was family, this felt really different in a room, and I sang the best I could. And they loved it. They sat back and they closed their eyes, and everybody went quiet. And I wasn't really too sure if they were just being really polite and hoping it'd be over soon, or they really, really loved it. And when I came to the end of the song and they opened their eyes, there was tears streaming down their face. And they all said I sound exactly like their mother. Exactly, that's why they closed their eyes. Because in that moment, their mother was in the room. And every time we met together as a family, they would get me to sing Danny Boy and close their eyes and have a cry. And it was just lovely to do that for them. To be able to bring back such a beloved parent just for the length of that song. and they were able to remember the really good things. She was a beautiful singer, and it was really nice that my singing reminded them of her, and it was a lovely thing to do for someone. All my uncles and aunts have passed away now, apart from my dad, and now every time I sing Danny Boy, it reminds me of them, and having a party and telling jokes and stories and singing Danny Boy.
My second song, again going back to my young days, is Be Thou My Vision. Now, why I picked that song is it brings me back to when I started secondary school. In the first week of assembly, this song was belted out and we all had to sing along. And from there on in, I just love it. There's something rousing about it, and I just always liked it. I've heard it sang quite recently. Well, I have the CD of Van Morrison, and I think Van Morrison has brought that song again to life, and it was sort of by bringing it to new generations. The song is a very, very old traditional Irish song, and it dates back to the 6th century, and it was attributed to an old saint, Saint Donald Faircolour. I'm not just can't have the proper pronunciation of his name, but he was a 6th century saint, and he wrote that, and it was translated into the English language in 1912 by a lady from the south of Ireland, and it's sort of, I suppose it's played in church services and that, but the fact that it is sort of revived now by maybe people like Van Morrison will keep it going for another number of centuries, maybe. And the lyrics written in the way back then are as relevant today as they were then. It seems to be valiant or valor, whatever. Be Thou My Vision, and it's just the I don't know really what to say about that, because it's just, I like the song, and I like it brings back memories to me, and that's why I like it.
No, okay. So my second song, again, it's not a Tyrone song, and actually, in fact, there's not all that many Tyrone songs, but there's some. But this one is The High Walls of Derry. Of course, Derry is famously a walled city, apparently one of the best intact walled cities in the world, and this is a song by Delores, Keane. And I love this about it. It's a love song, and basically about unrequited love, which most songs are, unrequited love. But I love Delores singing it because I love her voice. I think she's a very, her voice has great integrity, and it's of her people of the west of Ireland. There's no falseness or ornamentation as such. It's just the voice of her people and who she is. And she sings the song beautifully actually, but again, it's there's a mention of Tyrone in it. That's as near as we get to Tyrone. The girl in the song is from Tyrone. It's called The High Walls of Derry, but it's also known as Lovely Johnny, and of course Lovely Johnny was like an awful lot of Lovely Johnnies. He was a gay fellow, and he courted the lady, but he hadn't long-term intentions in mind as she has. The story of our lives, fair enough. Oddly enough, I was down in my sister's house in County Meath, and she had her radio on, Radio Erin I suppose, and or RT as it's now known, and this song came on with Delores singing it, and she said to me, I want you to record that song for me, I want you to get me the words of it, and the both of us then, every time we could get a chance we listen to the song, but Delores' version, and listen to it all the time. And again, it's lovely words again. the poetic and all that. The high walls of Derry are dismal and grey, and so is lovely Johnny as he's going away. He's going to bonny Scotland, some lover to see. May the high powers that be bring him safely to me. But most women nowadays would say let him go on. But he was a rascal, she was in love, what can you do?
Another song that I came across, and I only came across it recently, but I actually loved it, and on this occasion it actually did have a video attached. Not a video, but I found it on YouTube, and it's by the Clancys. And I know the Clancys are a band from Armagh, and they went over to America, and they played in Carnegie Hall and things like that. So they were well loved and renowned, and they were all well known for wearing orange jumpers. They made them very popular throughout the world. But another song, a song that I came across, very, very old footage, and it's a song called Johnny the Hardly Knew. Now, I have since heard that that song has been released by the Dropkick Murphys, so it's actually quite popular. But if you get an opportunity to look at the original version that the Clancy brothers played, it's again another anti-war song, and it's like Johnny I Hardly Knew. And on this occasion I'm not sure of the words, but the facial expression of the man that's singing, I think it's Tommy Clancy, and his facial expression is just, you know, he just talks about poor young fellas heading off to defend their country and maybe not coming back. You know, I love all sorts of genres of music. Particularly interested in the folk music, and I suppose the permutations of folk music and where they came from, where they come from, maybe Scotland and Ireland, the Celtic, and then moved over to the Appalachians, over to you know, when the people moved and they brought their music and their instruments with them, and suppose different things like that. Kind of music kind of becomes hybrid or fusion sort of thing, and I noticed that lately a young fellow over in Scotland somewhere started doing sea shanty and has become very, very popular on YouTube, and I suppose that kind of reminded me a wee bit of that, the way the Clancy brothers were singing that music. It kind of reminded me of the shanty sort of music, so I really, really liked it. I was like, I wanted to tell everybody about it. I was like, watch this, but it was like 2:30 in the morning, and I was just on YouTube in my bedroom, so I had nobody to come to.